Good afternoon, friends. I am Dr. Kiran, Senior ENT Surgeon from Ma ENT Hospitals, Hyderabad. Today we'll be discussing about allergies and sinus problems. Generally, the allergy is the most common problem what we face in our day-to-day clinical practice. Around 20 to 25% of the population suffers from allergies. These allergies can be due to various causes. Most commonly, the allergy is due to pollution, air pollution, and exposure to dust, or and there can be allergy to food items like cool items or citrus items. So, what happens is when a person gets exposed to these allergic factors like pollen grains or insects or pets dander, the body develops hyperimmunity, like the body reacts in the form of excessive antibodies, and mostly the specific antibodies are Ig antibodies. So the body reacts by developing more number of antibodies, and this causes inflammatory changes in the nose. And also the bone marrow of the body reacts in the form of excessive secretions of formation of mast cells and basophils, which cause a hyperimmunity reaction. During this reaction, what happens is there will be a swelling and congestion in the nose. This causes blockage of the nose and the sinuses. And then, when there is a blockage of the sinuses, this results in collection of infection in the sinuses. And this infection is called as a sinusitis or a sinus problem. So, what are the symptoms of sinusitis? Generally, we generally suffer from a common cold, which is a viral cold. This is due to different types of viral infections occurring to us. And what happens is when the body reacts to this viral infection, there will be generally running nose, nasal block, headache, fever, and this lasts for around 1 to 2 weeks. And generally, the body tends to control the viral infection and the body recovers from it. But when there is a bacterial infection, it is called as acute bacterial rhinosinusitis. Due to this bacterial infection, the common cold what we see for 1 week, it will prolong. It will prolong to 10 days, 15 days. And there will be change of symptoms like instead of watery discharge from the nose, there will be purulent discharge from the nose. There will be nose block, there will be headache, weakness, fever. So in such a case, one needs to treat the bacterial infection. How to treat the bacterial infection? At home, general remedies can be taken like steam inhalation and drinking hot water for throat or throat infection or cough. And one has to also start antibiotics if it is not subsiding with home remedies. So after a course of 1 week, antibiotics with some nasal drop, decongestion drops, and symptomatic treatment for fever, headache, like taking paracetamol, this bacterial infection gets subsided. So with this, we can control the acute bacterial infection. For some patients, due to repeated exposure to allergy or due to cold exposure or in winter season or due to pollution, these problems will get repeated. So a person may get repeated attacks for 2 to 3 attacks per year. In such a case, due to recurrent infection, there will be collection of infection in the sinuses. So if this infection prolongs for more than 3 months, so when the patient suffers from nose block or a nasal discharge or reduced smell sensation, then it is called as a chronic sinus problem. So in such a situation, what happens is the bacteria like Staphylococcus, they hide in the sinuses and cause a biofilm formation. So because of the biofilm formation, these bacteria, they form multiple colonies in the biofilms, and the bacteria get resistant to our antibiotics. In such a case, what is the treatment? So after initial course of medications like antibiotics, one has to investigate to see why there is a chronic infection. Like one has to do a nasal endoscopy procedure. It is a nasal endoscopy test to find out any swelling in the sinuses, like pus discharge, or swelling of the turbinates, or swelling of the middle meatus, or polyp formation. And further, to confirm the sinusitis, one can also do a CT scan. So, CT scan in the sinusitis infection shows collection or swelling in the sinuses, nasal polyp formation, and the CT scan also acts as a guide for sinus surgery. And it also rules out to detect any complication of sinus infection, like infection spreading into the eyes, infection spreading into the head or the cranial cavity. We have a query from our viewer. What is sinus headache? Is it dangerous? So generally, sinus headache is a very common problem in the public. Many people suffer from headaches and they relate it to sinus infection. But if the sinus headache is associated with a nasal infection only, then it can be related to a chronic sinusitis. Most commonly, there won't be a sinus infection. There won't be only a headache due to different neurological causes. Different neurological causes can be tension headache or a migraine headache or paroxysmal hemicrania or midfacial segmental pain. There are different types of headaches like trigeminal neuralgia. They occur in episodes and they go away. Whenever there is a stress, they can come. Whenever there is an exposure to sunlight or lack of sleep, they can come. So only when the headache is due to infection, we call it as a sinus infection or a sinusitis. If there is no infection, one has to consult a neurophysician and take appropriate treatment for the sinus headache. We have got another question from a viewer. Will there be fever in sinus problem? If I had cool drinks or exposure to dust, immediately I get headache. Is this because of sinus problem? Yes. What happens is if there is a sinus infection, whenever there is an acute infection with bacteria like Streptococcus or Haemophilus, these bacteria they cause infection and collection in the sinuses, and that collection will lead to headache, and that infection will also lead to fever. And why it happens due to cool drinks or exposure to cold air or in winter season is because due to cold weather, the nasal mucosa, the ciliated epithelium of the mucosa doesn't function properly. So a body gets sensitive or susceptible to get a cold or to catch infection during cold season or after taking cold drinks. We have got a query, what is sinus related to asthma? So when the sinus infection is due to allergy, it can also be related to asthma. So generally the allergies are due to air pollution, due to dust, smoking, cigarette smoking, or smoke in the house due to agarbatti smoke, or smoke due to all out chemical smoke, all out and good night mosquito repellents, or smoke due to kitchen fumes. So what happens because of this exposure to dust and smoke, the inhaled smoke irritates the nose as well as the lungs. So a person can also go into an asthma attack due to exposure to smoke. So not only it causes allergic rhinitis, it causes allergic asthma. So one has to be careful from these allergic factors. We have got a query, sir. I want to know what is allergy. This allergy is nothing but overimmunity or hyperimmunity. Excessive immunity leads to allergy. So whenever a body gets exposure to dust or smoke or some insect particles or dust from pets, the body overreacts by creating excessive antibodies. So when these antibodies are more in the blood, especially the IgE antibodies, it causes swelling in the nose. This swelling causes block to the nose. There will be breathing difficulty and excessive mucus formation in the nose. And blockage of the sinuses will further lead to infection of the sinuses. And this infection of the sinuses leads to sinusitis. So, what is the treatment of this allergy? So, because we know there are different allergic factors which cause allergy, one of the main important treatment is to take precautions. So, we have got a question. Last 2 days dry cough. I used Blorex syrup. Now cure. Is it okay? Yeah. So, if you get a dry cough, you can try cough syrups, and generally it will subside. It will be generally due to irritation due to smoke or cool weather or cool drinks. It can also be due to viral infection. And you can also try home remedies, like you can do gargles with hot water, you can do salt water gargles, you can do steam inhalation. That will relieve the allergic cough. But you take precautions by avoiding fridge items, cool items you avoid. Avoid any outside food. We have got a question from a viewer. Does sinus infection cause eye swelling? Yes. Whenever the sinus infection is severe, like acute infection, when there is pus formation in the sinuses and it is not treated, antibiotic course is not been taken, then what happens? The infection can spread to adjacent parts of the sinuses. So, what is the part near to the sinuses? It is the eyeball. Another part near the sinuses is the brain. So, the infection, if it is very severe infection, bacterial infection, and the body immunity is low, this happens especially in children or in patients with low immunity, like in diabetes or patients who are having HIV. When the immunity is low, the infection spreads to the orbit and there will be a swelling of the eyeball. It is called orbital cellulitis. If the orbital cellulitis progresses, it will lead to pus formation in the eyeball, and then one has to undergo surgery to remove the pus from the sinuses and to remove the pus from the eyeball. Otherwise, there is a risk of loss of vision when the infection spreads to the eyeball. Now, coming to the treatment, what are the main treatments of the allergy and the sinusitis? First of all, we have to take precautions to protect ourselves from allergy. Then we have to take some medicines like antihistaminics and intranasal corticosteroid sprays. So, because the allergy is long-term problem, generally the treatment is also long-term. So, initially we can try a 1 month course of antihistaminic tablet like cetirizine or Allegra tablet, and then see for the result whether the symptoms are relieved or not. Or if the symptoms are not relieved, then we'll go for higher medication like intranasal corticosteroid sprays. These sprays also have to be taken for long duration, and one can also try saline wash. Saline sprays are there into the nose. So generally they will wash out the allergens and the mucus from the nose, and that will help in relieving of the nose block, relieving of the allergy. If it is not controlled, the acute infection leads to chronic sinusitis. In such a case, one has to investigate in the form of certain blood tests for allergy, like serum Ig blood test, absolute eosinophil count blood test. One has to do a nasal endoscopy with the ENT doctor and undergo a CT scan. A CT scan of the sinuses, it is indicated when the infection is severe, or we are planning for a surgery for the sinus infection, or there is a problem like an eyeball swelling, spreading of infection to the eyeball. Then we do a surgery called as endoscopic sinus surgery. We have got a question: is allergy related to pollutants? Because some people improve once they go out of a particular area. Excellent question. So generally in our practice, we see some patients, they travel for work, they go to Bangalore and they come stay there for 2-3 months, and then they come back to Hyderabad. So when they are in Hyderabad, they may have more symptoms due to excessive pollution, smoke and dust pollution. And when they go to Bangalore for some work like 2-3 months, and they are relieved of their symptoms, they did not take any medicines. So this is due to change of climate and change of reduced pollution in certain areas. So this can happen due to change of weather or due to less exposure to pollution and dust. So what do we do in, we have got another question: can allergy be cured? So because the allergy is in the blood, it can be genetic problem also. So if parents are having allergy, children can also get allergy. So because it can be a genetic problem, one has to take long-term treatment. One can also investigate in the form of allergy skin prick test. In this skin prick test, we notice to what you have got allergy. Common problems like certain food items like milk or rice or wheat, these items are tested. Any fungus allergy is there, Aspergillus, Candida. Any insects, dust mite allergy is there. Any dander allergy. Any allergy to pollens like Congress grass allergy or weed allergy. So in this skin prick test, we find out to what a person has got allergy. Then it gives a direction to the treatment, especially for taking precautions. So when a particular person gets allergy to pet dander, so one can know that one has to be away from the pets. And this fungus problem is very common in our place. This fungus will be there in the air, especially in damp areas, moist areas, like excessive use of coolers or ACs. This can lead to fungal allergy. The problem with fungus is that it goes and sits into the sinuses, and it is causes chronic infection. It can cause complication, spread of infection into the eyeball. It can cause nasal polyp formation. So this becomes a chronic problem. So because of the chronicity, the treatment is also chronic. And once you do a skin prick test, we can also do a immunotherapy. Immunotherapy means it is called a desensitization therapy. In this desensitization therapy, low doses of allergens, antigens are given to the patient, and then slowly the body changes its hyperimmunity or hyperallergy. The IgE levels come down, and other antibodies, IgG G antibodies, take over. So in this way, slowly we can control the allergy. We have got another question. What are the surgeries for allergy? So the generally the what surgery we do are endoscopic sinus surgery. There are different types. We do surgery with the help of a debrider. So in this surgery, we put an endoscope and a debrider machine probe into the nose and the sinuses and remove the disease from the sinuses and remove the polyps, enlarge the openings of the sinuses so that the nasal cavity and the sinus cavity becomes a big cavity. And this helps to prevent any further collection of infection in the sinuses and also for further medical treatment and nasal washings. So in future also, when the nasal washes are done, the sinuses are cleared of any infection and there is a less recurrence. Another advanced technology what we use in our surgeries are navigation surgery. In this navigation surgery, we load the CT scans of the patient onto a navigation system, and then with the help of navigation we do a surgery. So the benefit of this navigation surgery is that wherever there are small pockets of infection which can be missed during routine surgery, or if the infection spreads to critical areas like eyeball or to the brain, then we can safely remove the infection without causing any injury or damage to the surrounding important organs like optic nerve or the brain. Another important advancement in this sinus surgery is called as a balloon sinuplasty. In this balloon sinuplasty, we do enlargement of the sinuses and cause minimum damage to the surrounding tissue. So these advanced techniques helps to prevent any failure of sinus surgeries. But one has to remember that these sinus problems have a basis of most commonly they have a basis of allergy. So not only surgery, one has to continue taking precautions for allergy as well as continue taking medications for allergy like antihistaminic tablets, long-term treatment, as well as intranasal steroids, long-term medication. Some people they get a doubt, do the medicines have any side effects? So generally these medicines are done after long research trials. Earlier first generation medicines they used to cause some sedation and drowsiness. After taking the medicine, person cannot go to work, feels sleepy. But nowadays we have got second generation medicines which are advanced medicines. These medicines are non sedative, so a person can take this medicine and happily go to work, and there won't be any drowsiness. And also they have got long term safety and efficacy. This means that they can be taken for months together. A person who has got severe allergy, they can take medicines for around 6 months to 1 year. We have got a question from a viewer. How long do we give antibiotics in acute sinusitis? So this acute sinusitis is nothing but acute infection. After a common cold, there will be a bacterial infection, and this bacterial infection does not resolve by its own. So there will be fever and pus discharge from the nose, and there will be headache and nose block and not able to smell things. So in such situation, we give antibiotics. Generally, the antibiotics we give 1 week to 10 days. But if the infection does not subside, we also give antibiotics up to 1 month. And we can do sinus washes also to relieve any pain from the sinus collection. Like we can do an antral wash procedure or a frontal trephine procedure to remove the pus from the sinuses. When these antibiotics, patients don't respond to these antibiotics. And then how long we can give antibiotics in chronic sinusitis? So chronic sinusitis, generally we give antibiotics for 1 month, and we can also give low dose long term antibiotics, which not only acts as antimicrobials but also act as immunomodulators. So they modify the immunity, they suppress the allergy from the antigens, and they modify the immunity such that the body gets immunity to fight against these antigens or allergens. In such a way, we can prevent recurrence of the infection or recurrence of the allergy. Now, how is allergy related to asthma? There is a new terminology called as unified airway disease. So, airway starts from the nose and ends to the lungs. Is there a role of FES in sinusitis? We have got a question. So, FES is what? What is FES? FES is the most common surgery that we do for sinusitis. This FES is called as functional endoscopic sinus surgery. So, with the help of endoscope, we do a endoscopic sinus surgery and remove any pus or infection in the sinuses. So, this surgery, there won't be any scar marks on the nose. There will be an endoscope put into the nose. So, it is a purely endoscopic surgery. There won't be any stitches on the nose, no marks on the nose, and it will be done under general anesthesia. So, it is a painless surgery, totally painless surgery. Patient is comfortable. In 2 days, the patient will be out of the hospital, and after a rest of 5 days, he will be back to work. So, in this surgery, what we do is with the help of endoscope, high definition endoscope, and a high definition monitor, we remove the infection from the sinuses. The sinus openings are widened, and any collection or pus what we collect, we send it for testing to the lab. And then we come to know the bacterial culture and sensitivity. With this, we come to know which organism is causing infection and what antibiotic is working on that infection. Also, if there is any polyps in the nose, we do a polypectomy. We remove the polyps from the ethmoid sinuses, the sphenoid sinuses, and maxillary sinuses. And then these polyps are also sent for testing to the lab. So this is called as histopathological examination. Why do we do this lab testing is because there is a risk of fungal infection in the sinuses. So the problem with fungal infection is that there is a tendency to recur. This especially happens when there is a basis of allergy. So whenever there is a fungal infection, there will be formation of fungal debris in the sinuses, and this will cause pressure on the sinuses, boundaries of the sinuses, and then there is a tendency for the infection to spread into the eyeball or the orbit. It can also spread to the brain. So there is a risk of vision problem. There is a risk of brain infection, like person can get into convulsions or coma. We have got a question from a viewer. Most patients of allergic rhinitis do have DNS. Will septoplasty have any benefit? Yes. So generally, the deviated nasal septum or the DNS is very common in the public. But when there is a symptom of nasal obstruction, this deviated nasal septum is also a contributory factor for causing nose block and a sinus block, and ultimately lead to sinus infection. So whenever there is a deviated nasal septum, we do combined surgery with like a septoplasty as well as endoscopic sinus surgery. So the benefit of septoplasty surgery is that whatever deviation is there, that is removed, and the nasal septum is corrected into central position. This benefits in the form of relief of nasal block, and also we can proceed to the sinus surgery freely because there is no obstruction because of the deviation. And post-operatively also, because there is a no nasal block, the medicines that we take like saline irrigation or steroid irrigation or intranasal corticosteroid sprays, whatever medicines we give into the nasal cavity, they go freely into the nasal sinuses without any obstruction. So in that way, the septoplasty surgery benefits for the endoscopic sinus surgery also. So there is another question, does the sinus problem recur? Yes, the sinus problem can recur. The sinus infection can recur. So when does it recur? It recurs due to repetition of allergy. Or if a person has got allergy to dust, and he has to go to work where he works in a dusty environment, like he is in a mechanical job, or he works in a workshop, or he works in a chemical factory where he is exposed to chemical fumes, then the allergy problem can recur. In such a situation, the person has to take a lot of precautions at his workplace. Also, there are situations where the person has to change his job and go to a job where there is a low exposure of allergy. We have got a question. Nowadays, young adults are coming with adenoid with allergic problems. How do we manage? So, generally, the adenoid problem is nothing but adenoid tissue hypertrophy in the back of the nasal cavity. Generally, this problem occurs in children, but if the children get exposed to allergy in the childhood, this adenoid becomes enlarged and goes on enlarging up till the young adult age. So the adenoids can enlarge up till 20 years of age, 30 years of age. Rarely it can enlarge in 50 years of age also. So what happens with the allergy causes hypertrophy of the lymphoid mucosa, lymphoid tissue in the adenoids. And because the adenoids are located just behind the nose, they cause a nose block. So when there is nose block, again there is stagnation of the sinuses, blockage of the sinuses, and again leads to sinusitis. So what we do is we do a surgery for adenoids. So these adenoids surgery helps to remove the nasal blockage and also helps to remove the focus of infection. So this helps to relieve the allergy. In children, the adenoid problem also causes infection to the ear. And whenever there is infection to the ear gets blocked, there is a pus in the ear, and the hearing will go down in children. So one has to be very careful to rule out the adenoid problems, not only in children but also young adults. So, how do you do adenoid surgery? We do adenoid surgery with an endoscopic technique. It is called as coblation adenoidectomy with endoscopic approach. So, in this technique, we do coblation technology where it will dissolve the tissue with the help of coblation plasma. Here, the patient has got minimal pain and minimal bleeding with the adenoid surgery, and the recovery of the patient is very fast. The next day, the patient is discharged, and it's like a daycare surgery where the pain of surgery is less, recovery is fast. Now, how the adenoids and tonsils are related to allergy? Generally, in children, when they are exposed to cold weather or if they eat cool drinks and ice cream, there is an infection in the throat. When there is infection in the throat, the tonsils they get hypertrophied as to they try to control the infection, and when they try to control the infection, their tonsils become enlarged. And when the tonsils become enlarged, they tend to block the breathing. Like adenoids, tonsils also tend to block the breathing. We have got a question: how are the results with immunotherapy in allergic rhinitis? So, immunotherapy is a new therapy where, after doing a skin prick test, we come to know to what a person has got allergy. A person may have allergy to food items like milk, proteins, or rice, or dal, or wheat. In such a case, we do a desensitization therapy. This desensitization therapy is like two types. It can be a sublingual immunotherapy or it is subcutaneous injection immunotherapy. In sublingual immunotherapy, the medicine drops are given under the tongue, and under the tongue, the medicine gets absorbed. Whereas injection therapy is a subcutaneous injection. Generally, these are for around 1 or 2 months of immunotherapy, and then there is a maintenance dose of immunotherapy around 2 to 3 years. So this will help in suppressing the allergy. The IgE antibodies response will come down, and slowly the body gets adjusted to exposure of dust and smoke, or to specific allergens like food items or pollens or fungus. Can the sinus problem recur after surgery? So generally, if a person take precautions and the sinus surgery is done perfectly with the help of navigation surgery or debrider surgery or balloon sinuplasty, generally the sinus problem 95 to 99% will be successful. Also, if a person has got allergy, the person has to take precautions to prevent the allergy to come back. And also, one has to take long-term medications to control the allergy, like antihistaminics and intranasal steroid sprays can be taken long term, like 2 years or 5 years, to prevent the recurrence of infection and to suppress the allergy. In such manner, the sinus problem can be cured. Are there different types of headaches which can confuse the sinus headache? There are different types of headaches, like there can be a migraine headache which can confuse a sinus headache, but the migraine headache will be in attacks and it will be only on one side. And the headache occurs when there is exposure to sunlight. A person who is traveled in sunlight or has got a lot of stress during work, so in the evening he may get headache. Or if a person does not sleep properly in the night, he may get a headache. There is a question. There are some reports with Montelukast having complications on long-term use. Generally, we give Montelukast when there are associated symptoms like, in addition to allergic rhinitis, there is an allergic laryngitis or allergic bronchitis, or there is allergic asthma. So generally, in our experience, we don't find any complications when they are given. In selective cases, there is more benefit rather than more complications. So the benefits overtake the complications, and so we tend to give these medicines, combination medicines, for allergy and asthma. So friend, this was about allergy and sinus problems. If you have any queries, you can post your queries in our website and we'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.